Hey there, everyone. Glad to be here with you today. Today is February 25th, 2026, and it's the 28th anniversary of the day that my father was murdered. And in his honor, what I'd like to do is read a story from my upcoming book. The book is called the Evolutionary Gestures Trilogy, and this story is from book one. Um, Later today, I'll have a conversation with Herbert, who's the man who killed him. And it's probably the ninth time that we've met in the last 3 years. And so um, it's also a day to honor his life and the hell that he went through um, that brought him to the moment of um, taking my father's life. May 15th, 1998. Smelling of de Kooning dreams, abstract art is stretched on huge canvases, hung like windows of paint, revealing a life of mark making. The high ceilinged city mansion belongs to my aunt and my uncle. This is where it happened. The basement is beneath my feet, with that room, the room, the room where my father practiced law and where he took his last breath. The room where Herbert was a man making his was a baby making his man decisions while feeling no pain. It is the summer after he died, and I am here in this familiar place, but now with an unfamiliar feeling, the feeling of that chilling room calling me. I visited here with my parents almost once a week as a child. That is when my aunt and uncle weren't in Oaxaca. They drew deeply from Mexican culture, its pigment deep within their artistry. For many years, they lived in Oaxaca 6 months out of the year, staying in this Philly home the rest of the time. My dad and his sister Arlene were very close, and so we spent a lot of time here. When my dad left his law firm, Arlene invited him to set up his practice in an unoccupied room in their basement. It meant no rent, and during lunch breaks, he could go upstairs and spend time with his sister, sometimes sharing their favorite drink, Jack Daniels. 60 years earlier. Treat him like he's your baby, Arlene's parents told her. That is your job. My aunt was 8 at the time, and her baby brother, Charlie, my father, was just born. From the first moment she held him in her arms, a sacred bond was formed, a connection that deepened decade after decade. Describing this, my aunt writes, my blood, by blood and womb, we were bound, by heart and soul attached. Their parents called them Arlene and Charles, intentionally written with no spaces between the words. After he died, my aunt said, it was like losing my first baby. May 15th, 1998. As I walk through the space, I hear Billie Holiday's sweet voice cuddle a home filled with sculptures, drawings, and paintings created by my aunt and my uncle. Most professional artists make more art than they can sell. And so, almost every inch of the living space is touched by their shapes, marks, symbols, and dreams. Many of these creations have been permanent fixtures for over a decade, impressioning my soul ever since I could walk. These are not just artifacts, they are the shape of me. Among the riot of brightly colored paintings, one stands out, painted by my Uncle Lee. It is marked in black and mourning. The painting is thick with sorrow, layered with burlap that is crusted, folded, and soaked with chroma, resembling blood and bone. It is not soft nor clean. It is raw, gnarled, caked with encaustic wax, the pigment full with life, bleeding into the canvas. At its center, a skeleton mother, rendered in long, blunt strokes of gray-white. She holds the remnants of a skeleton child. She is a ghost of El Dia de los Muertos, painted with the colors of death and lament. As I look at the painting, it reminds me of a family photo, causing me to shudder. The photo was taken the day my father was born, the day they told her to treat him like her own. The day my father died, something in my aunt died too. A surrogate mother's mantle made broken under the weight of madness. Now she has become the skeleton ghost, holding her child's listless bones, rocking for eternity in the mourner's chair. Beneath the painting sits a white 3x3 stand made into an altar, honoring the dead. A Oaxacan skull made of paper mache sits on the top. It is adorned with vivid traditional patterns and floral inks. Next to the skull is a shot glass with Jack Daniels and a pack of Lucky Strikes, an offering to my father, the man who has become an ancestor. On the right side of the skull's forehead is a hole. I imagine this was burnt through with a cigar, leaving a large bullet-sized wound with charred edges. The skull has no beret. I should not be seeing this, whispers a voice in my mind, while also touched by the poetic choices life makes and how it reveals the truth of the where, of the how. The gun had to be aimed somewhere, didn't it? My guts feel tight, yet everything is oddly luminous. This home is riddled with doors and hallways and sounds and smells. The enduring scent of oil paint and images reflect acts of beauty making and descent. It reminds me that art is so often born through the womb of torment. I've been in this home 1,000 times, but today, with my broken heart and no feeling of adult hand upon my back, the world feels different. Everything is enchanted. I walk into the hallway leading me closer to the room, to the door that heads down those stairs, to that room where it happened. Hallways are destined for passage and live as a humble in-between, usually a means to the end, to an end. But when time is slowed, every cranny counts and is a toast to art, to life, to why living at all is worth the trouble. To my right, long stairs climb upward. The creepy Charlie McCarthy doll sits in an old rickety chair at the top, peering down at me, waiting to be possessed. Seeing this doll caused me to burst into tears repeatedly as a child. Like the papier-mâché skull, he has no hat. His chin falls slack off the bone, showing me his clackety teeth, and a smile that turns this moment into the eerie remnant of a nightmare. His black eyes stare at me without blinking. Charlie's head sits atop his inhumanely small body, making him seem real enough, yet deranged. I feel a little sick. The wall lining the staired incline is filled with 40 or more Mexican masks. The scary ones, the strange ones, the ones that stink of blood magic. History drips from every eye, every horsehair beard, and every animal pelvis turned into a sun god. I'm cradled in a nest of myths and monsters. The distinctive aroma of mothballs mixes with oil paint as it wafts from the closet behind me. The scent is nostalgic and something I have grown to love because it returns me to the day when I was much shorter and spent many cherished moments in the walk-in closet during family dinners. Feeling all the furry coats would remind me something made sense. As a dyslexic kid, I understood sensations, not words. After dinner, when all the adults spoke of art, literature, and the nature of things, I would often spend my time amongst the fur and mothballs. The sounds and warmth of family is now gone, but the sense of safety the mothballs invoke remains. I pass the stairs and move closer to the door to the basement. On the left wall is a 3-foot tall sculpture of a naked woman nailed to the cross. The crucifixion, the crucible. She marks the millions who have been brutally hag-ridden because of our sins. History's unrelenting torture of the blood moon. To my right is a 4x4 erotica box with a life-size body made from dark bronze brown colored sculpture. A light shines from the ceiling upon the naked chest of the woman in the box, thighs wide open, but with much of her legs cut off. They don't fit in the box. There is the hint of a face, a chin turning upwards in ecstasy. The rest of the head is cut off by the top of the container. The right arm is missing too, but the left hand rests upon what exists of her upper thigh, gently touching her rose. Even as she is missing most of her limbs and bound by the contours of her display to the world. I have been made porous by the fog of murder. Images of horror and ecstasy have become the shape of me. As I flicker in and out of being, my heart and body has become a dystopia of bondage and pleasure. I have become the scent of oils and mothballs, masks of the root people, the skull without a beret. Is there even such thing as an ordinary day? As all this pours through me, the death room calls me with its haunting fumes, pulling me forward. The shapes and songs and stench of living and dying taunt me to see how much I can endure. This is life. I come to the door. The knob is cold, too cold. Trembling, I turn it, feeling the frailty of the door as it squeaks open. A rush of basement mustiness fills my nose. The stairs are short and cramped, their destination swallowed in darkness. I step down hesitantly, each board creaking beneath my weight, the air thick with the earth and age. At the bottom, I turn on a light, throwing long shadows along what feels like an underground tunnel made of misshapen walls, warped like the shape of a world whose sensible order has become twisted and rough. As I move through this dim labyrinth leading me to the room, I begin dreaming about my aunt. I imagine her hunched, weeping, a cigar smoldering between her fingers, its fragile smoke making beauty trails. In her other hand, a glass of Jack Daniels. She reimagines the moment her beloved baby brother's life comes to an end. Arlene's fingers weaken with these nightmares and the weight of losing her brother child. The glass falls to the ground, shattering into diamonds. She lets out a wail as her other hand thrusts the cigar into the head of the skull, making the hole in the forehead. The human song brings us to our knees, so that time may be slowed to a tempo where the melodies of sorrow are heard with the intimacy of the artist's heart, where nothing is absent of true beauty, and the tender quaking comes to know the hidden road within the blood mansion. I arrive at the door to the room. The knob is old, like everything else down here. Unknown horror remains my tauntress while some magnetic allure tugs at me, just like when I walked through the door to see the body of my father at the funeral. Stepping through, I find a blue-gray carpet beneath me. The room is empty of his desk, chair, and good intentions. Instead, a single piece of cardboard lays upon the floor. It is flat, soft, the product of countless minds, hearts, and hands working together for uncountable moments to invent, create, and ship innocuous paper afterthoughts to the hand that would finally lay it here. Today, cardboard is protection for my heart, a veil like face powder to demand my father's sweet blood soaked into the carpet be left to one's imagination. Or is just the cardboard on an unstained carpet left behind for no reason? I should not be seeing this, whispers the voice again. I do not pick it up. The empty room feels strange, haunted, as if the space is struggling to figure out what to do with the absence of life and the memory of murder. In this, something else arrives, something I am too young to have words for. My heart is too new to understand such darkness. I fear rats might eat my soul. If I should fall down now, who would pick me up? Would I lay to rest here for eternity, with cardboard my only solace? That simply will not do. Feeling dazed, my eyes remain stuck open. I live as most of us do inside my own mind, rarely seeing what surrounds me. But now, forced by the exacting blade of this rank dormitory, I am opened, made to take everything in. The edges of me are stretching, expanding, and pressing me deeper to help me survive and to make sense of all this. The history of my life, the life of my father, the builders of the home, the curators of cardboard, my aunt burning a hole in the skeleton's head. These are all the elders with which I am co-born, as is Herbert and his crew. The looming three, their musk still sticking to the air long after the smoking gun. They too are part of this aching, blooming garden. History is born here in the thick present, forcing my trembling lids to stay awake. History's music is in the cardboard. It is in the hidden blood, saturated and screaming with life after death. It is in my bones. History is young Herbert standing over my father who lays in a heap beneath him, as is the baby cannon that took thousands of years, hands and minds to fashion. All of this is my inheritance. Future's rose is here too, the one that I held during the funeral but did not understand. It beckons me forward, readying me to meet the man who squeezed the trigger, causing my heart to snap, break open, and open some more, revealing inch by inch nothing less than the remarkable. I'm standing in the eye of the tornado where nothing truly dies, where the unstruck melody of existence resounds with no beginning nor end, never ever saying good night. This is life music. I shudder a little, exhale softly, and leave the room. Horror demands the presence of the artist's brush to find beauty within the incomprehensible. So we may soften enough to stay with the trouble, even in dwelling places like rooms creeping with the stench of murder. This is the birthplace of art, where the sounds of death, the sounds of fury, the sounds of captured innocence are the grand symphonic sung by light and melody. Those who look past the nightmare find something glorious breaking through the mundane and awaken to a post-tragic world. To capture this in prose, paint, or clay is to make humanity stare a little closer, so that accidentally we might fall through the world to see the sacred beauty. The whole cosmos is quaking with the scent of everywhere and everything, some delicate and raucous fugue shaking us awake. Art and torture, ghouls and bondage, brightness and bitterness, the pleasures of the flesh are all stuffed in society's clay-fashioned box and into my young heart and into yours, where too much to bear becomes a heart stretching its edges to make room for more leg and more honesty. Life music emanates from every inch of this majestic cotillion. It is where all the bits of the world, with her wounds and reveries, ecstasies and tragedies, are woven into each other to make a harmony that is as haunting and complex as it is mystifying and beautiful. Thank you.